Dozens of criminals freed early from Scottish prisons to tackle overcrowding return to jail after reoffending. I for one am very, very shocked. Can you believe that? A total of 477 inmates were let out early in Scotland in 4 tranches over the summer to tackle overcrowding. You know what? I'm having fun, so I'm just going to keep saying it until I get told to stop. Have you been in an accident that wasn't your fault? Well then, you could be entitled to compensation. Nobody likes getting lowballed and given the runaround while at their lowest. And I know what it's like to be left stressed out of my mind and buried in paperwork while trying to keep a case moving forward. It is very, very hard. There must be an easier way. Well, Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm, is there to streamline the entire process so that you can keep up with everything from your smartphone if you become their client. All you have to do to get started is answer a few questions, and then Morgan & Morgan will get the ball rolling with a free case evaluation. And from there, a crack team picked from a roster of over 1,000 lawyers across all 50 US states will take care of the rest. And if having a team of lawyers, paralegals and investigators isn't enough, then 24/7 support is available for more than 6 cohorts of support staff, or almost 4,000 if you're not Rome-pilled. Point is, there will always be someone on hand to answer any questions that you might have. And with this much manpower at their disposal, you can be sure that Morgan & Morgan will be able to fight for the best result possible, having already recovered over $20 billion for more than 3 million clients. But if Morgan & Morgan is not able to win your case, then the fee is completely free. So, if you've been seriously injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan by going to forthepeople.com/Count Dankula or clicking the link down in the description to get started on your claim. Dozens of criminals who were freed early from Scottish prisons under an emergency release system have allegedly reoffended and been returned to jail, it has emerged. A total of 477 inmates were let out early in Scotland in 4 tranches over the summer to tackle overcrowding, with 57 returning to prison up to 18th of September after reportedly committing further crimes. And I guarantee you, since that date, there's been a lot more. These guys were only out a few weeks and they've already been getting sent back. The recorded index of offend. Oh, God damn, I can't even read. Sorry, as you can probably hear in my voice, I'm really bunged up with a cold. The recorded index offence groupings for which people returned to custody included non-sexual crimes of violence 20, crimes of dishonesty 17, damage and reckless behaviour less than 5, crimes against society 8. Antisocial offences 8, miscellaneous offences less than 5, other not classified less than 5. The tally of 57 people includes inmates who have been charged and reconvicted, others who are being held for alleged offences, and those who have already been released from custody after being remanded for an alleged offence. The Scottish Prison Service said those who returned to custody remained in the community for between 2 and 61 days, with an average time in the community of 22 days. So the average was about 3 weeks before they were straight back into prison. An SPS spokesperson said, "We have been open and transparent throughout, publishing the number of individuals released at each stage, followed by a series of breakdowns." Now, I thought that one of the qualifying criteria for people being released from prison was to make sure that they are actually rehabilitated, but as we all know, the prison's not about rehabilitation at this point, is it? Unless your crime is political. The latest publication on returns to custody continues this approach. Only inmates serving short sentences of under 4 years who had 180 days 180 days or less left to serve were considered for release. Prisoners serving life sentences or those currently behind bars for sexual, domestic abuse or terror-based offences were automatically excluded from the scheme. Well, goddamn, I hope they would be. Jesus. Prison governors also had the power to veto the release of any inmate they deemed an immediate risk to a specific individual or group. Fascinating. The decision was made amid a spike in prison population numbers, which Justice Secretary Angela Constance said was putting the estate at critical risk. Last month, First Minister John Swinney said the early release of prisoners had not solved the situation in regards to overcrowding. Well, that's because you're jailing so many people for tweets. That's why. Speaking before the Holyrood Governors Group at the Scottish Parliament, he said, "We still face a serious situation, and I fully expect the Justice Secretary to have to come back to Parliament to brief Parliament about the current situation." Oh, I'm so bunged up, man. A separate report published by the Scottish Government puts the projected prison population at between 7,750 and 9,250 at the beginning of next year. Prisons have been struggling under the weight of high populations in recent years, with 8,274 people in custody as of 27th of September. The Scottish Government said, "Whilst no level of reoffending is acceptable and we do not want any more victims of crime, the return to custody rate for those released under the scheme was substantially lower than the average reconviction rate of those serving 4 years or less." Probably because some people have realised, God damn, I've been given a golden chance here. I got a golden ticket in my chocolate bar. I better not waste this opportunity. I hope it's a bit of that. You've been lucky and you've been let out early, but then loads of other people, you won the lottery getting let out really early into your sentence, and you've went out and immediately fucked it. You're straight back in. Speaking to Sky News in June, Victim Support Scotland warned the system would lead to reoffending. Kate Wallace, the charity's chief executive, commends the SPS for its transparency over the latest figures, but added, "However, sadly our fears around the number of prisoners released and subsequently returned to custody have been realised. With 57 people being sent back to prison before their original release date, we fear that many more new victims will have been created with the worrying knowledge that most of those crimes are categorised as violent offences. Whilst the full extent of reoffending of early release prisoners is not yet known, these early figures are a cause for significant concern given that most of these prisoners have been living in the community for just a matter of weeks." And also, these are just the ones that just got caught. A lot of them are probably already reoffending, they've just not been caught yet. Miss Wallace said the figures emphasised the need for adequate preparation, rehabilitation and availability of services on release. She added, "With prison population figures only predicted to keep rising and Scottish Government ministers repeatedly saying these were only temporary measures, we would urge them to voice a swift response to what long-term measures are planned to counteract this." I love it whenever the government says, "Don't worry, it's only temporary," that's going to be here forever. Remember, the income tax was only supposed to be temporary. The SBS says, while the emergency early release programme provided much needed respite to its establishment staff and those in its care, it is only considered a temporary measure. Don't worry, it won't be. The SBS added, "In recent months, our population has risen sharply once more and remains extremely complex. This continues to have a significant impact on our staff and the time available to them to do important work in supporting people, building relationships, turning lives around, reducing the risk of reoffending, and creating a safer Scotland for all." Basically, yeah, the prison system is an absolute mess. The government it's got the money, could just turn around and build shit tons of prisons. Red tape, you're the government. You're the one that's in charge of the red tape. Just sign every form. Just give yourself permission to build multiple prisons. Yet you're not. You're not doing that, even though you have money to build 1,000,000 prisons all over the country. That's very, very strange. Where's all the money going? There isn't any money, is there? Because everything's being drained right now. I keep telling people, stock up on food, buy gold, buy silver, and all that, because basically the economy, especially in Britain, is about to collapse. Because when you've brought in a lot of people who are all using public services like the NHS and schools and dentists, so on and so on, who have contributed absolutely nothing into the country's coffers, and they are still not contributing anything. In fact, they are actually causing a lot more crime and a lot more problems, and thereby draining the coffers even further. Oh, things are going to get bad. Oh, things are going to get really, really, really bad. So, yeah, stock up, buy diesel generators, all that other stuff. However, prison should be about rehabilitation. You should be putting people into prison to make sure that they get rehabilitated and don't commit the crime again. However, I do also agree that there should be better measures set up so that when the person gets out of prison, they have a job waiting for them. You have all kinds of, basically a bit of a safety net waiting for them to make sure that they don't reoffend. Because a lot of people that come out of prison and have a job waiting for them, the majority of those don't reoffend. Some still do. right? But if people have a job and some kind of life waiting for them when they get outside, then there's the chance of them reoffending drops drastically. So I think a lot more measures should be put into that instead of just releasing everybody early so that you can jail more right wingers for their spicy Facebook posts.